City councillor compensation once again in the spotlight after the 2024 remuneration report showed 7 of 14 councillors had over $100,000 in base pay, benefits, and expenses. The lowest was Councillor Paul Van Meerbergen at $86,000. The highest, Councillor Susan Stevenson at over $119,000.
We've got some councillors who have full-time jobs and do this on the side. And there's no right or wrong, but that's what we have. That councillor obviously isn't going to be spending a lot of expenses. You've got somebody like me who's doing it full-time and is on various boards and commissions. Councillor base pay is about $65,000 a year. The deputy mayor and budget chair earn about $73,000, and the mayor receives almost $158,000. There used to be a process that clearly highlighted a councillor's base pay, as well as a potential annual increase. However, last term, council felt that the process of voting themselves an annual raise had become overly politicized, so they did away with that in favor of automatic increases based on census data. That's left just the cumulative remuneration and expense report going to council each year. Stevenson would like clearer reporting methods. How can we give as much information as possible to the public? We want to be as open and transparent as we can. The task force. The Council Resourcing Review Task Force will consider whether compensation and expense policies need to once again be updated. But at its first meeting, that reignited a discussion as to whether the role of city councillor should be considered full-time, part-time, or remain undeclared.
If we're tasked to do this, are we allowed to say we want this to be a full-time job?
Legislation speaks about council roles and the role of councillor as a public service and a service to the community rather than as employment.
The task force made no recommendations at its first meeting, instead discussing its future approach, which could include reviewing how similar-sized Ontario cities handle councillor job descriptions, compensation, and expenses. They will also seek input from current councillors as well as members of the public.
Previous task forces have done surveys and they've held meetings and they've come up with information as well, right? So we're going to be looking at where's the public at.
The task force's recommendations are due by October. Daryl, Newcombe, CTV News.